Not being a rabid sports fan, I can't speak with authority on the affliction, but it seems to me a person is attracted to a team for a particular reason, usually geographic, but not always. For the sake of brevity, let's stick with football. In Minnesota, where I lived for many years, for example, the most popular team was the Vikings. Over in Wisconsin, the Packers. Down south here, folks' fervent loyalty mostly goes to college teams. That's a little surprising because fewer people in the South actually attend an institution of higher learning, but it may be out of habit because when I was a kid in Tennessee, the nearest professional franchises for both baseball and football were in Baltimore. Whatever the reason, fans tend to support their team year in and year out, regardless of the team's success. A rational person would probably review the stats of each team at the beginning of the season and go with the one most likely to win. But they don't. Many watch their team struggle year after year and are left at the end of the season with only the hollow wail, "Just wait until next year." It seems to me a lot of voters do the same, and it leads them to support political candidates who don't act in their best interest. What's worse, the candidates often tell them right up front what they plan to do, and the aforementioned voters go right ahead and vote for them anyway. Maybe they're just not paying attention, you say. Certainly that's part of it. Politics is hard. You have to spend a lot of time sorting through candidates, and even then you may wind up taking a shot in the dark on occasion, hoping for the best. Sometimes that works, mostly not, because politicians lie. But that should only work once, don't you think? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Blindly supporting one sports team or another really has no consequence, except hair-tearing frustration on the part of the particular fan. Blindly following a politician or political party and giving them your loyalty, regardless of how their policies affect you, puts you on an intellectual par with a tree stump. I know, parties put the hot-button issues on the front burner, and those who favor one side or the other of a particular issue will flock to support the candidate who best mirrors their own feelings. The trouble is, the parties have no intention of doing anything about the issue. Why would they? They can dust it off and use it again next time. If they really cared about solving the problem, they'd engage with those on the other side of the aisle to craft some sort of compromise to address the problem. What about abortion, you ask? Conservatives fought for years to get it banned and finally did, at least in some states. Watch what happens, I reply. In a very short time, if they don't already, the Republican Party will regret that victory and pay a very high price for it at the ballot box. Their temporary victory may well inspire nationwide legislation in support of a woman's right to choose. Let it be known, I've probably voted for a lot of things over the years that were not directly in my best interest. School referendums, for example. I've voted to raise my own taxes several times because I believe the population should be educated. I would not have voted to kick in public money on 5 different sports facilities in Minneapolis where I used to live, but I wasn't given the chance to vote on those one way or another. Again and again, I was forced to help fund a stadium for a sports team whose games I could only rarely afford to attend. Each time, the new facility was touted as an economic engine for the city, but when the construction dust settled, the only people who really benefited from any of those facilities were the team owners. Make no mistake, you have my permission, not that you need it, to follow the barking spiders or the slavering ducks to your heart's content. But for politics, a more rational approach should be in order, don't you think?